Hi, I'm Meghan Boffeli. In a quote by Susanna Bean, she states, 42.1% of kids admit they have seen online porn. 1 in 16 of those kids have been exposed to hardcore pornography. This just demonstrates how unsafe of an environment the internet can be. Anyone can post anything, and it can be very dangerous. One way that we can avoid this is enforcing more censorship. Censorship is described as official prohibition or restriction of any type of expression believed to threaten the political, social, or moral order. And this has existed in the U.S. since colonial times, according to an article called Censorship. The internet should have more censorship because its content increases rates of violence, gives children access to pornography, and harms people through hate speech. Today it is very difficult to find recent news, movies, and video games online that do not contain dangerous things such as violence. Online media desensitizes kids' minds to violence and negatively impacts their lives. Desensitization makes kids less shocked or less remorseful when they are faced with scenes of violence. The amount of violence portrayed online determines how people think of violence. And this is shown through the agenda-setting theory in the book Communication Matters by Floyd. And it states that the media tells people what to think by determining what users see or read online. So in other words, when a user makes posts or videos or pictures online and they determine its content, it puts its content into the mind of whoever views it. A study shows that people's perceptions of crime issues are more influenced by the amount of crime coverage rather than the actual crimes. And that was stated in the book Communication Matters by Floyd. So here are just some examples of common video games, popular video games in today's society. This is Call of Duty Black Ops, and you can just tell how violent this video game is by its cover because there are guns and blood represented in this picture. And in the video game, kills and harming others are rewarded in this video game, and that's how you are successful and you move on, is by how many kills you get. And this is just what the video game looks like. So as you can see, you are holding a gun, so it's representing, it's a very real life. In a quote by Angelo Darnino, he states, "Modern Warfare is the fastest selling game of all time with 8.8 million sold in the first month." And that is followed by Call of Duty, which was the video games that I just showed you. Watching violence online increases the likelihood of committing real-life violence. The catalytic theory in the book Communication Matters by Floyd, it was proposed by contemporary researchers, and it states that watching violence in the media encourages real-life violence, but only if other influences are present. Some of these other influences can include if the violent behavior is rewarded, portrayed as exciting, or rights a wrong, or occurs very frequently. Extreme violence is often watched by children without the intention of finding it, and this is similar to pop-up pornography on websites. It is very easy today for children to access pornography on the internet, and this has a very negative impact on their impressionable minds. There's no regulations intact that prohibit pornography from being accessible to minors. An example that in an attempt to limit the pornography online was the Communications Decency Act, which was actually passed by Congress and signed by Bill Clinton, but it was overturned by the Supreme Court. And that was stated in an article called Censorship. There are plenty of negative effects of pornography on young adolescents' minds, and some of these include seeing unfamiliar bodies, which can be a frightening experience, becoming desensitized, which leads to acting out in sexualized behaviors or engaging in high-risk situations. In extreme cases, it can actually lead to sexually abusing others, and that was stated in an article called Understanding the Effects of Pornography on Children. Pornography is not the only thing creating frightening experiences. Hate speech also makes for scary situations online. A large amount of unregulated hate speech targets a very large variety of people, and the effects could be deadly. Unregulated internet hate speech is not only harms reputations, but it also threatens innocent lives. Defamation is described as the act of hurting one's reputation. In further detail, libel is written defamation, but it is a published false statement online. And libel is very easy to spread, and it never goes away online, so it can be very damaging to one's reputation. And that was stated by Floyd in the book Communication Matters as well. In a quote by Christopher Wolfe from the International Network Against Cyber Hate, he explains how hate speech is a serious problem in today's world. He states, from cyberbullying to terrorist use of the internet to recruit and incite, internet hate speech is a serious problem. Wolfe also explains how recent hate crimes have gained support online. And this is very alarming because it is actually forming to hurt other people, and it should be a serious signal that we need some change. And Wolfe states the most notorious hate crimes as of late, such as the shooting at the Holocaust Museum, were committed by individuals who use the internet to spread hate and to receive reinforcement from like-minded haters who made hatred seem normal and acceptable online. Internet hate speech is not confined by any limits due to its protection under the First Amendment. In a quote by David Hudson, he states that the First Amendment allows for such hateful expression. Hudson stated, "The First Amendment provides a broad protection to offensive, repugnant, and hateful expression." Hudson also explains why some of these cases that have hate speech, why they do not survive court. He stated, "Regulations against hate speech are sometimes imposed because the government disagrees with the views expressed. Such restrictions may not survive constitutional scrutiny in court." The First Amendment cannot protect speech that hints at lawless actions or threats. So we need to determine a barrier, a barrier between what is harmful to others and what promotes hurting others and just expressing your opinion. Free speech is not the same as hate speech, therefore we must determine a barrier between the two to protect online users. The harmful effects of witnessing violence, pornography, and hate speech are all reasons for more government-issued censorship online. More and more children are being given access to iPads, iPods, and other digital devices, and it is our job to protect them from all the dangers of the internet. Thank you for watching.